Hey, you guys, I'm coming to tell you a story here. I would just want to. Oh, sorry. I know I'm looking a little extra rough than normal. This quarantine is, man, it's like being in a madhouse. But I'm currently in quarantine. I believe that China is lying about this coronavirus stuff. I really do. Oh, gosh. I should just let this be. It looks terrible. And the reason why I say that is let me see the date of this medication. I'm just going to leave this thing alone. When did I get this medication? April 3rd of 2019. I was prescribed this medication. It's called Benzoate. And I was also given some steroids. After I visited New York City in 2019, I believe it was around, was it February or March? I became so sick, you guys. I mean, this sickness that I had, the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They just couldn't figure it out. I went to the one of the clinics that was close by my job because I couldn't even breathe, you guys. I believe that China is lying. I believe this coronavirus was out in early 2019 and they're just saying something now because it's got to the point where it was uncontrollable. I believe other people had this disease prior to it happening now, because I've seen online a bunch of people saying in October, November, and December, and in January, they had symptoms of coronavirus. You guys, all of the symptoms of coronavirus, I had it in April of 2019. And I went to the doctor. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I was so sick. I was the sickest I've ever been in my entire life. Let me tell you some of the symptoms I had. Horrible body aches. I had chills over my body and then heat flashes. I could barely walk. The chills were the worst part, you guys. I don't even know how I made it to work most days. It was the only the mercy of God of how I made it to work. My body temperature would drop so low that I felt like I was going to die. I remember it so well because I left YouTube for a long time. I was sick for almost maybe like 2 months, you guys, 2 months. And I just could not shake the sickness. Then I went to the doctor. They told me, oh, you have fluid in your heart or lungs or something. So they said I have fluid around my heart. I didn't believe nothing they said, you guys, because whatever was happening to me felt like death. It felt like I was dying, you guys. So my body temperature at night when I try to go to sleep would drop extremely low. I had to take one of those little heating packs, you know, the ones that you wrap around your waist. I had to take one of those, put it behind my back or my stomach at night, just so I could keep my body temperature raised, because I felt like if it dropped any lower, I would have died. And then at the same time, I had to turn the heat up in my apartment extremely high, like in the 90s, or I couldn't even get up, you guys. It was horrible. And then when my body would start to heat up, and let's say in the morning it starts to heat up, my heart is pumping, then I would get the hot flashes all over my body, and I would just feel this extreme heat just coming and going, coming and going. And then my legs, I could feel the bones in my legs. I could feel the bones in my arms, my back. My bones were hurting, my literal bones hurting. I could barely breathe. I couldn't even wear a bra because when I would put on a bra, it would be too much pressure on my chest. It felt like something was sitting on my chest. And all of these things that these people saying they had these symptoms, I had the same exact symptoms. I had to take everything off of my chest, everything. I had to just go, bare and just wear like a t-shirt or something. When I would get up to walk at work, let's say I need to go to the bathroom or go to lunch, I could take 2 steps and then I would have to try to gather my breath. I could barely walk, barely. Like it would just be like, and then you can't get like a full breath. It was horrible. It was so horrible. I was terrified to go to sleep at night. Terrified. But I really believe I had coronavirus because I've never been that sick in my entire life. Never. And then I was so sick, you guys. I was praying before to God, like, help me, heal me, Lord Jesus. And one day I got so desperate. I was like, I just started praying in tongues. I had to. I said, God, just help me, please. I sat in my other room over there and I prayed in tongues. And then I felt for the first time God really reached me. He reached me. And he told me to go ahead and take these cranberry tablets that I had in the house. Cranberry tablets, you guys. And I looked it up, and apparently it helps with the blood flow to your heart and lungs or something like that. It helps with the blood. Immediately after I took these cranberry tablets, I felt a little bit better. So I kept doing it, and I felt better and better. But for 2 months, I could not get this thing off. Like I couldn't break this sickness at all. I felt like I was really gonna die. I was just like, maybe I should just say my piece to everyone, because I felt like I was going to die. You didn't even want to eat because, you lose taste for things. Taste in your mouth is gone. It was even hard to drink water because you don't want to not lose your breath. It was horrible. I have never been that sick in my entire life. Sorry about the noise. They're mowing the lawn out here. And a friend of mine, she told me she thought she got corona too. She had corona in, what was it, December or January. She had coronavirus too. She said she had some of the horrible symptoms like that. She said she couldn't breathe. And I was wondering, when she told me her symptoms, I was wondering, does she have the same thing I had that the doctors couldn't figure out? She took her bra off. She had to take her bra off because she said it was too much pressure in her chest, just like me. She couldn't breathe. She was in her car one time. I was like, you should just go to a doctor. Something's wrong. Maybe something's wrong. She didn't go until later, and they did all this tests on her. She said that nobody wanted to come in the room with her. This is before they even know what corona was. And they put her on some medication. They put her on steroids. I was also on steroids too when I was sick. They gave me these steroids tablets, which I got prescribed for again because it didn't even work. It doesn't work. She was put on steroids, and I believe they gave her these same pills as well, these little tablets. These are supposed to help with the breathing, the benzoate and steroids. She said her neck was incredibly stiff, like she couldn't move her neck. And she had uncontrollable coughing. The coughing is the worst part. You cough so much, you feel like you're just going to cough up blood. I thought that too. Any moment, I'm going to cough up some blood or cough out my lungs. There was this guy that took me home from work every day in this Uber. And he literally had to pull the car over to buy me a bottle of water at this gas station because I could not stop coughing. I cough every single second, just couldn't stop. And he gave me these little tablets before I was prescribed anything. He gave these to me, and then the doctor gave me the same exact thing. And he was saying that this should help. It basically kind of numbs that area. It helped a little bit. But I was still just coughing. She said she had a horrible pain in stiff neck, horrible cough, pressure on her chest. She felt weak, and then she would get chills, and then the heat again, the flashes. And nobody knew what was wrong with her. She's sick for a long time, just like me. See, I was sick for 2 months. 2 months. And again, this only happened to me after I came back from New York City. I came back from New York and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I just couldn't stop coughing. I was on my mother's couch just coughing, coughing, coughing. And when I went to New York, I stopped in Chicago airport. And when I was coming back, that's when I was coming back from New York City. That's when I started to feel it. I really felt it bad. Like I was on the plane and I was coughing, coughing, coughing. People started looking around at me like, what is wrong with this girl? Why does she keep coughing? Does she have some disease or something? They're just staring at me. And finally, I stopped coughing. I pulled out my Bible and started reading my Bible and stuff. It was just horrible. It was horrible. I swear, you guys, I felt like I was gonna die. I felt like I was gonna die. It made me paranoid. So paranoid. And then like I had this humidifier that was in my room, and then I couldn't even put it on, like, because it made it worse. I put this humidifier on in my room one time when I was feeling a little bit better, and then the next day I went back to square one. It filled up my lungs and my heart with too much fluid, and then the symptoms came back again. You guys, just horrible. Horrible. I really believe, again, I believe China's lying. I believe this coronavirus was here in early 2019, and now they're finally saying something because it got out of control and they couldn't cover it up anymore. There was too much death. And I only became sick when I used my vacation time to go to New York City. And also I was in the area of Flushing, New York, which is like Chinatown. Huge community, Asian community. I also went to high school out there. Your people travel back and forth back home. Huge Chinese and Korean community. And I got the sickest I've ever been in my life. I'm not saying I am patient zero. I don't believe that. I don't eat deplorable things like bats or anything like that. That's disgusting. The Bible talks about things like that. They are not to be eaten. But I believe that other people had this disease and it was spreading early 2019, and now we're seeing the epidemic of it. Pray for all these people, y'all. Pray for these people that are dying. People are dying in these hospitals. Y'all pray for them. Pray for them, please. Lord Jesus, will you just please cover them? Cover these people, Lord Jesus. Don't let them die alone, Lord. Be with them and save them, Father. The hardest thing about this disease is that loneliness of being apart from your family and nobody can, come to see you or say goodbye. It's horrible. Y'all stay blessed in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ.